Hey, 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 MOMnation, and welcome back to another episode of Untying the Knot with Katie and Miranda. Hey, hey, Miranda.
Hey, what's up?
You know, I was going to say same old, but it really, truly never is same old, is it?
No, it's the same. What is it? Same shit, different day.
Yeah. Except for not, because when you're a mom and a business owner and a wife and a daughter and all the things, yeah.
Same level of stuff. Not the same stuff, but it's the same level of chaos.
Exactly. So today we're going to twist it a little bit on our audience. We're going to do things a little bit differently, aren't we?
We are going to. We're going to try it.
Okay. All right. So what are we going to do? Let's tell them.
Okay. So today you're the host extraordinaire, and I'm gonna get into that seat a little bit today, and we're gonna talk a little bit about your story. Last week I know we talked about mine, and both of my stories come from a place of trauma, some abuse, and different things, and I think it's important to talk about that stuff, but that's what I know. But there's a lot of people out there that just amicably broke up, or they grew apart, or maybe it wasn't the easiest, but it wasn't like high stress, high conflict craziness. It was just a different situation. And so I think it's important, and I know yours is much more in that category. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to there's all kinds of divorces and all kinds of situations. So I'm kind of glad we have both sides of that for you to be able, to share your story and give that side and that perspective.
I totally agree, and I appreciate that. And you're absolutely right. My story is a bit different than kind of, the ones that you hear that are that high stress, high intensity, high conflict situations. Not going to say that my story doesn't have any conflict to it, and honestly not going to say that my story doesn't have any trauma response in it.
Yeah.
Sure. I certainly have done much better in later years of figuring out how to be in a relationship. Wasn't really ever taught that. And I don't know that we ever are, right? Like, do parents sit down their kids and be like, okay, this is how to be a partner?
I think some do now. I think we are.
That's true.
But I don't think our root is, though. We're not wired for that. And it doesn't matter. It's a very good point. It does not matter what you go through. You don't have to have been physically hurt or have been cheated on or whatever to feel that level of trauma. It's not about what happened to you. It's just about how it got stored in your body. So what somebody who went through in, high pressure third world country goes through, and what we go through, we experience the same feelings, different situations, but it's the same feelings, same emotions, and same effect on our bodies.
Yeah, totally agree. And honestly, the reason that I got into, so to back it up, my current husband is my second marriage. And we have been married now we just talked about this last night, actually. And we were like mind blown because we're just doing all the things, right? And living life and making sure our kids fed and all that jazz. So we kind of forget, but we are coming up on our 12th year of marriage, 13 years together. So we were
1 year.
Yeah, it was a quick.
Wow. Okay, and he's your baby daddy.
Yes, that he's my baby daddy.
Okay, and that's another thing I love about your story is divorce without a child.
Yeah,
because it's a totally different set of circumstances and functionality and aftermath. So yeah, that's a cool thing too.
It's a big giant difference. My ex-husband and I, so my first husband and I, we have absolutely no contact, and we haven't since we got divorced. And sometimes I think about it and I'm like, I wonder how he's doing. And I wish him well. I don't have a bad word to say about the man, and never have and never will. But it definitely made things easier than what I observed some of my other friends, even relatives of mine, having gone through with having a couple of kiddos in the mix. That definitely creates additional factors and additional stress. I'm not saying kids are stressful. I'm not saying it's bad to have kids, that kind of thing. It's just
there's
stressful.
No clean break.
Correct.
Even if in here, some people don't have kids and they still have a lot going, connections and ties to people.
Yeah.
But you can physically have a clean break from someone, which can tremendously help your emotional growth and you're moving forward or not, but probably makes it definitely easier, I would argue. probably.
Yeah. And I don't have anything truly to compare it to other than what I've observed,
True.
but nothing that I've experienced personally. But I do feel that that's a true statement. I do feel that it was a little easier for me than it is for those that have that consistent contact or bump into each other at the grocery store or something. Like,
Yeah.
I moved.
I don't mean
clear
easier for
across
you to
Canada.
deal with. I just mean easier on paper. We have no more business together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's for sure. Because
Yeah.
once we signed, we were done.
You're done.
Like, he got his, I got mine, which was very little. We'll talk about that. That was
Okay,
my
well, let's
choice.
go back to the very beginning. Katie
So-
is how old, and how do you meet, and how does this start?
So I think it's important to understand where I was raised, first of all.
Okay, all right.
And this is very small town New
Background,
England.
it definitely affects how you meet people and who you have relationships with.
100%. Very, very small town. Everybody knows everybody. I think the population at that time from Berlin, New Hampshire is where I'm from, based in Mount Washington, very close to Canada. I think that the population at that time was like 7,000 or 9,000, like somewhere in that area. So think about the culture shock coming to Phoenix.
So
right?
born and raised there.
Born and raised there. And I don't know how, I'll just come out with it because I don't know how to like eloquently put this into words, but basically as women, there wasn't much more than who you're dating and who you eventually marry. Like, that's kind of what we did. Sure. Did we go to college? Sure. Some of us did. But that wasn't necessarily the goal. The goal was to
partner up.
Who you're dating, who you married to. Exactly. And so, you know,
do you think that, I don't want to interrupt you, but do you think that you're looked at, like, if you don't have a partner or you're not paired up with someone, that you're looked at differently?
It definitely is asked, like, how come you don't have a boyfriend? Or, you know, it's definitely a topic of conversation. It's definitely noticed. I didn't feel any sort of judgment because I was always connected. I was always dating somebody from like the time I was 15, you know what I mean? So I never really felt that judgment. And honestly, and we're talking like high school relationships, right? So, but at the time, being a young lady, they were very important and very impactful to me. But honestly, Miranda, like, I went from my high school boyfriend to my husband, like that. Like, it was really fast. I didn't leave space in between for myself. I didn't know to leave space. Like, that wasn't something that we were taught. It was, and no offense to, you know, it just was the way of the life there. So it was really very common to be 19, 20, 21 when you got married. Very common. Yeah. So I actually first met my husband, my ex-husband, because he worked for my family business. Ding, ding, ding.
So we have that in common. I forgot about that. Yep.
I told you. Yep. Yeah. So my family was electrical contractors. So I come from a long line of business owning electricians, right? It is so weird how we can, anyway, further episodes, we'll talk about that. But
well, let me ask you this real quick, because this is something I went through, because I grew up in a machine shop around men. Did that change you think your openness or your comfortability or anything about your relationship with men? Or like, were you around them? Did you work there?
I did. Okay. I actually spent quite a bit of time there. I wasn't employed per se, like necessarily like on the weekly payroll, but I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and it was my grandparents' business that they, you know, started from the ground up. So they were there a lot, as you might imagine, you know, and I spent a lot of time there. So from being a very little girl straight through high school, like I would help out my grandmother in the office, you know, in high school, just kind of filing and stuff like that. Like nothing, I didn't have to be there every day, but when I was there, I was helping out and that kind of thing. So I saw a lot of people come and go. Yeah. And it was mainly men. Being in the, you know, northern country, and see a lot of female electricians. Yeah. That just was what it was. So this particular gentleman, he was 5 years older than me. So I never crossed him in school. We never, were in the same school at the same time.
And you're how old when you meet?
I was 19.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not. No, we might have met before that, but when we started dating, I was 19. So he was 24.
And isn't it interesting now? Like I have a 20-year-old. So like 25, I just heard a podcast the other day where they're talking about, it was probably 40-somes. And they're talking about when we were in high school, a lot of our friends were dating 20-some-year-olds. It didn't seem weird. Today, I would be like, no way. But
I'd be like, gross.
Right. But back then, when I thought back, I'm like, yeah, a lot of my friends were dating like out of high school people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. Oh, I do remember actually how we initially connected. We were at a party.
Oh.
And yeah. And so we just kind of connected from there and began dating. And then it went rather swiftly at that point. But I remember I was actually just thinking about this the other day, anticipating this show. I remember when he proposed to me, I pretended to act excited.
Ooh, I understand that feeling. Tell me more about that.
We were, he did a very good job.
Let me ask you this. Did you think it was going to come? Like, were you expecting it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys had talked about it?
Well, yes and no. I had a couple of friends that were like, he's saving up for a ring. Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
An idea. Yeah.
Really, really, cute and sweet. And honestly, like I cannot say enough good things about this man. He was an absolute doll face, like a total sweetheart. So why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, he had a good job. He was a smart man. He was a sweetheart. He cooked, he cleaned, he was handy. He was all the things. So no, I didn't have the spark. No, I wasn't super excited when he proposed, but let's just jump through the hoops and go through.
Could have been much worse.
Hell yeah. It could have been a lot worse, right? Yeah. So I considered myself fairly lucky. And then we were married for 9 years. So,
oh God, I don't think I realized that. I thought it was only a few years.
We were married for 9 years.
You got married at 20?
Got married at 21.
21. So you're with him all of your 20s.
Left him at 30, divorced at 31.
All of your 20s. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a lot. And this is, you're going to understand as soon as I say this. So we're living in Littleton, New Hampshire at the time. Okay. And Littleton was smaller than the town that we were originally from. Right. Okay. But we had a really good life. We both had decent jobs. Like on paper, we were doing great. I was diagnosed at that time with a condition called osteopenia. In fact, I still have it, which is unfortunate, but I deal with it. And having that condition, living in the North Country was really uncomfortable for me because the humidity and the bitter cold just made my bones hurt. So I was physically uncomfortable getting through those winters mainly. Summer was okay, but getting through those winters, Miranda, it was like to the point where my fingers wouldn't work, like bad. It was bad. And so we decided, being the young folks that we were, 21 and 26 or whatever we were at the time, or 22, I think I was, that we were going to move somewhere warm. We didn't have kids. We had the type of jobs that we could honestly go and find another job anywhere because of the industries that we were in. I was in banking and he was an electrician. So super easy.
Yeah.
And so we started looking at Florida quite closely because that's where people from my side of the world go to. Florida.
West Coast or East Coast.
Exactly. But then I started to realize that, I don't know, it's still kind of humid there. Let's check out the West Coast. We had a friend that lived in Phoenix, and we knew we weren't going to live in Phoenix because that's way too big for us country folk. Like, we can't do that. That's crazy to even imagine. Like, there's murders there. How can we deal? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so we were actually, get this, going to move to St. George, Utah.
Oh, okay.
The reason is because I thought it was very beautiful.
Pretty, and quieter.
Rural. I think population 50,000, something like that at the time. And I could, the winters were more mild, but we still had winter because I couldn't even fathom having Christmas without snow. I was like, how does that even work? I don't know. So we sold our house and we did very well. Remember, I
Did
told
you know
he was
anyone
in-
there, or you were just like, this is just a place and we're going to go to it?
True.
Wow.
Yes, true and correct. So we were just going to start over in a new place. Not that our old place was bad. It was just physically painful.
No,
for
but
me
I love that.
people.
I love doing that with someone. That's cool.
And we were excited. We were
Yeah.
young. We had, at the time when we sold our house, we did really well because remember I told you he was super handy.
Mhm.
So we bought, and I was too. So we bought a home that was uninhabitable. And we lived in our camper in the backyard for a good 6
Awesome.
months and worked on
it.
it, like worked
How
all day,
fun. Yeah.
worked on the house all night, worked on the house weekends. I was going to school at the time too.
Oh, man.
So it was we were making some serious moves.
Were you doing like online college?
No.
Or you were going, once you moved there, you found a school?
I was going to school, yeah.
Okay.
So the college that I was in had a campus there.
Okay.
And so I was just taking, like one class a semester or whatever it was, or 2 classes a semester, whatever. Just because I had to work and I had to fix my house, or I was sleeping in a pop-up camper all winter and that wasn't happening, right? And so we ended up doing really well when we sold our house. For a couple of kids, we pocketed $70,000, which back in the day, I mean, this is 2003, 4, like that was a good amount of money for us. And we had
You didn't have a lot of expenses.
We didn't have kids. We
Yeah.
sold our house. Like we got rid of a lot of stuff. And we had this little Honda Element was our car. And so it's kind of, if you recall those when they were so popular back in the day.
Is that like a little SUV type thing?
Yeah, and you can camp in it, and it's just like a really neat kind of versatile vehicle. So we did something really fun, and we decided we were going to drive across the country, eventually make our way to St. George. We kind of had connections there now. I had developed a relationship with a realtor out there. Like we were, making ways to get over there. And we had a blast, Miranda. We went to New York City. We went to, I'm a huge Elvis fan. So we went to Memphis and we did Graceland and we camped by the river. And we just had an absolute blast for a couple of kids. We felt no stress because we had $70,000 in our pocket. And we figured by the time this is done, like we're going to have figured life out. It's going to be fine. So we ended up making our way to Phoenix as we were coming, to St. George. Because we had a friend from school that we both knew. He happened to be my husband's age, graduated with him, but he was a very good friend of my cousin. So I knew this guy too. And we were like, hey, do you mind if we come stay with you for like a week? Just kind of to take a break from driving, So he's like, yeah, cool. Let me show you my town. And we never left Phoenix after that.
Oh, okay.
Because he was like, no, I don't think you're going to like St. George.
I don't think I realized that you divorced here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
you're here. So what's the time frame now?
So now it's 2004.
And you've been married
since 2001. So that was about the time frame that we were married. We were married that summer.
Okay. All right.
So I've been married 3 years. We're like couch surfing with this friend at the moment. And he's like, you know what? I don't think you're going to like Utah. I just don't think that's your atmosphere. And maybe you should consider something else. Like maybe you should consider Flagstaff or something if you prefer,
Smaller.
So we were like, yeah, okay. And then we hung out in Phoenix for a couple of days and decided to look at houses. And we bought one by the end of the week.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And that's how I landed in
So
Phoenix.
Did you actually physically buy a house in St. George?
No.
So your fixer-upper was back home?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. It was Littleton, New Hampshire was our fixer. And actually a couple of weeks ago, my now husband and I and my son were in Littleton, New Hampshire because we went back home to go visit. And I'm like, we got to drive by my house.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so that was kind of cool to see the old street and the old house, and it's still standing and it still looks similar to how I left it.
That's neat.
Which is funny. So
you're in Phoenix, you buy the house.
Mm-hmm. He gets a job immediately, which if I remember right, that and our great down payment that we had, because we still had a bunch of money,
Yeah.
was how we could get into the house. I wasn't working at the time.
Bunch of money down.
Yeah, we put some money down, and the only reason I think we got finance is because he got a job real quick, you know, but very easy to do in his line of work. Everybody's always looking for a good electrical contractor.
Yeah.
And so ended up moving into the house. And again, the man never beat me by very far, never did that. Like that. No, very far. That would be far-fetched to think. Never raised his voice at me, really. Was very sweet, very accommodating, very loving. The perfect husband on paper, you guys. Like the perfect husband on paper. When I started to share with people that I felt that I could trust and I felt comfortable with, I almost felt like I'm crazy, because why would I give up this seemingly great situation with a man that works hard, that provides, and all the things? Like, I felt kind of crazy. But remember when I told you I wasn't excited about getting engaged?
Yeah.
I wasn't excited about being married either.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have the spark for him. I just didn't.
So let me ask you, do you feel like he was in a good place as far as like he knew who he was authentic, he was connected to himself, like he didn't come from a lot of trauma or confusion? Do you think like he was like pretty grounded and okay?
And honestly, like my trauma response, because we came from very different backgrounds.
Yeah.
My trauma response was actually, now that I think about it with this brain, looking back, was ultimately trying to destroy his health, his healthiness. Let me explain.
Bring him down to your level.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Let me explain.
And he was rooted.
He was very rooted.
Connected, so he wasn't doing that.
Nope. Not at all. All he did was
something in you is like, I'm not getting what I'm used to getting. And yeah.
It didn't feel comfortable. Something felt off to me. So I had to create chaos. And I know that now. And I'm honestly, guy hates my guts. He's never going to talk to me again. I'll explain why. But I honestly would love to have a conversation with him. And I would love to be like, hey man, like, I get it. Like, and honestly, looking back now, as upset as he was when I walked away, I freed him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way about my ex-husband having an affair. Like, it wasn't cool the way it went down, and there was a lot of unnecessary shit after, but I'm actually very grateful that I was released from that in a way that was so definitive.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. So let me give you an example of what I meant by, and I wasn't like consciously aware of trying to do this, right?
Sure.
It's just my mind was trying to create the chaos and trying to create the issues.
Trying to get back in a comfortable loop.
Yep. So he came from extraordinarily loving parents, fairly wealthy background as far as our little town was considered. Family held in very high regard, also business owners. They were in the sawmill industry, which is very, very big back there. Timber and, sawmill and all of that is really giant back there. Yeah. And he had an exceptionally close relationship with his parents. Which me looking back now, that sent ripples.
Did it bother you?
Yes. Without acknowledging it, now I do, because I didn't have that same relationship. I didn't have that same connection.
Were you judgmental about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. To the point where I went to his house. So he and I actually lived with his parents for a little while we were saving up to get the house. So it was very, very kind of them to do that for us. Like, they would do anything for us. They were amazing people. I walked into the house one day, like after work or whatever, and he was watching a movie or show or something with his mom. And they were cuddling on the couch and, just snuggling one another. And he was, I told you when I met him, he was 24. So he was like in his late 20s at the time. And I lost it.
What in the hell?
Yeah. I was like, this is freaking gross and weird. And like, why would you do that? And so my trauma response looked at it at a very different way than I look at it now, having a little boy of my own. My 11-year-old, you bet your ass he's going to be snuggling with us. I don't care. Like, we have a nice, close relationship, similar to what my ex-husband and his mom had at the time, you know, and I understand now, and I totally get it. And I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's actually very beautiful and very cool that they had that type of relationship with one another. Very
he's secure enough that it's not like he's super mama's boy or he's being weird about it. He's just comfortable in their relationship.
Yep. Just loves his mom, man. And vice versa. And honestly,
that's the goal.
Yep. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. So it was things like that I eventually just kind of eroded because that made me uncomfortable.
How was your relationship with her?
Then or now?
No, I just meant through those years. Was it like a fake nice thing, or were you like, were you guys close? Did you have a connection to her?
We very much had a connection.
Okay.
Because of her. Because she wanted to have a good connection and a good relationship with her baby's wife.
Yeah.
And she tried so hard. And it was me that did the pushing. Yeah. And it was me that was weird about it. And looking back, I have to give myself, you know, a little bit of grace because I was young and I really didn't understand.
Oh, no, not a little bit, a lot of grace.
Yeah. And I didn't understand what a healthy relationship looked like. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And honestly,
and even when you do, or you get to the point where you figure it out, it doesn't mean you can do it or it's easy, it's comfortable.
Right.
So you can be aware of it and still be like, I can't do this, you know?
Right. So she, because of her wonderfulness and his dad too, his dad's pretty cool too. We were fairly close and they would come and snowbird here in Phoenix. So we got to see them in the winter and then they're actually Canadian. They're from Canada. Oh, okay. So my ex-husband is Canadian born and they would go back to Canada in the summertime and, you know, spend the summers there and spend the winters with us. So yeah, I had a great relationship with her. Certainly not now. When I chose to leave him, I left the mall and she never contacted me. I never contacted her. So I think they had come over for dinner one night and that was the last time I ever saw them or talked to them. And we never really had our closure after that.
Okay. So what is the day? When is the day that the conversation, the thing, was it an event that spurred you or you just finally said, I'm going to tell him? Like what happened?
So I was feeling, remember in a previous episode, I mentioned to you that we had a really good friend that I felt that he was being inappropriate with.
Some transference. Yes.
So let me tell the real quick story. So I had a very, very good friend and they were actually real estate clients of mine first. But this is how it happens with my business. Like we become friends and then we're in each other's lives forever because, you know. So we became very good friends after they bought their house and we started hanging out and, you know, they'd come over and swim at our house because we have a pool and we would take vacations together. They didn't have kids either. So it was just kind of fun for the four of us to go places. Well, we started this sort of tradition that we would go to Las Vegas together. And we would rent a room and like, you know, we would, we had a timeshare room. We didn't own the timeshare. We just rented it from someone and it had a bedroom in it. And then it had like a sleep sofa. So we would kind of, you know, flip flop and you get the bedroom this year, you get the sleep sofa and vice versa. Right. So they happened to be on the sleep sofa this particular time. And they wanted to go out and look at the fountains at the Bellagio, which the last one, I think, goes off at like midnight or something. We were tired. We went to bed. We're in the room, remember. The only bathroom is in our bedroom. Oh, so they didn't have access to the bathroom. So they come in. They don't want to wake us up and start to get ready for bed. I hear the TV come on. I'm still kind of like awake. Like I'm in that halfway point between being awake and not. I hear the TV come on. I'm like, okay, cool. They're back. Great. And then all of a sudden I hear like somebody vomiting, like very violently. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's in the hallway. You know, it's Vegas. Yeah. I'm like, someone's not feeling good, you know, and I just kind of chalked it up to someone had a good night or not a good night. And that's, their current experience. So then I don't know how much time goes by because I'm in that middle state. Then she starts screaming, help, 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 help. So I'm like, I jump out of bed. This is before I had my eye surgery. So I had glasses, contacts, and I didn't have my glasses with me. So I couldn't see the nose in front of my face. Like I couldn't see anything. So I didn't have my contacts close. So my ex-husband jumps up, he goes, helps them. Adam's on the floor. And I call the front desk, get the paramedics come up, they end up coming. Long story short, he expired in our hotel room.
Oh,
right
my
there.
gosh.
In his wife's arms. They had only been married for less than a year or so.
Oh my gosh.
So he passed, and at the time, one of my very best friends. So this is like
traumatic for her. I mean, for all of you, but yeah.
Very traumatic. So we end up getting to the hospital. She goes in the ambulance with him. We follow in a taxi cab. Of course, that's not before we get questioned for an hour by the authorities because they're like, what kind of drugs are you guys doing? And I'm like, test me. We literally didn't do anything. I don't even think we had drinks that day. Like we were just walking around, people watching, we had a burger that night. And it was very, very innocent. And so we end up getting released. We go to the hospital. I met with the coroner because she was a mess. And I met with the coroner, got all of those details, laid out. I had to call his mom and tell his mom. So super traumatic stuff. I'm not going to tell you any more about that incident. But the reason why I told you that is because we bonded in that moment, right? The three of us bonded. Only he and I understand what she truly went through.
Of course. Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
So we had a really strong bond. And I honestly felt that it was my duty to Adam to make sure that she was okay and to watch over her and all of that jazz. So he worked for SRP. So we actually got some of the SRP guys to put together a little fund where they all tossed in some cash for her because she was a stay-at-home wife. And she was like, all this has happened and it's just a very traumatic experience, right? So we helped her out with some funds so that way she could at least figure out what the next steps were. Well, at the time, I was still very much in the early stages of my business. So I was working a lot. And I couldn't pay much attention to her because of that. So I asked my husband, who just worked 9 to 5, if he could please, go down, see if she needed anything at the house, just help her out, And they ended up getting closer and closer and closer. I started to see, this is back in the day when we used to get paper cell phone bills and you would see every text message,
Yeah. I had a binder of those. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, this is fucking weird. Why are you sending her picture texts? And why are you what is that about?
An hour and a half. Yeah.
Why are you texting all night long? That doesn't seem like a friend. That seems
how much time has gone by now between that incident and this?
Well, if I've been married 12, 13, 14, probably 15 years.
No. From the hotel incident to where you're really starting to figure it out and you're sensing it and seeing the bill. How much time's gone by?
2 months, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Very, very quick.
Wow.
So I confronted him. And I was like, what the F, man? And he got defensive. He didn't really have a great story for me. Didn't really have a great excuse. Seemed guilty. But you know what, Miranda? I'm going to confess something right now. I was doing the same thing.
Oh, okay. I was going to say you were relieved, but you were doing
the same thing. There was this absolutely beautiful lead singer of a heavy metal band that I met, because remember, we were in the music scene. That's another really important thing.
Yeah.
We played in a band together, my ex-husband and I. So we were in the music scene and we were, meeting people at our shows and whatever. And I ended up connecting with this, God. Anyway, I felt the spark with that one.
We all have that one. Yeah.
I felt the spark.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much there too. And honestly, I just said to myself, you know what? It's now or never. I'm never going to leave this guy if I don't do it now. He's never going to leave me. At least I thought, you know.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know. Do you think with that
maybe
going on?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I remember just telling him one day, I think he came home for lunch, poor guy. And I just like, I would work from home and he would come home for lunch. And I just went downstairs and I was like, this is it. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm leaving and I can't do this anymore.
Do you think, did you use that as an excuse or a reason, like as a springboard? Like
His
in
affair
here?
with her?
Yeah, like was that your internal or did you say that to him? Was that like the thing that you used to say, I'm done?
You know, I wish I remembered exactly, because that's a really great question. I wish I remembered exactly what I said to him, but I do know that that had a lot to do with it.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think I even said to him, to be honest with you, I actually had this conversation with a friend of ours then, just recently. I think I actually said to him, she's better for you.
Mm.
And they've been married ever since. They have 2 kids. As far as I know. I mean, he's got me blocked on social media, and I don't really like look him up anymore. But back in the day when it was fresh, you know, I was curious and stuff. And we still have some mutual friends who will every once in a while be like, hey, did you know he's doing this? Or, you know, this is going on. And I'm like, no, but thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, so that's it. And I left that night, I think. And I wrote down all the things that I wanted, which wasn't very much. I pretty much left with my car, a little bit of furniture, my computer, because I knew like my business was starting to take off. Like I knew I could totally just walk away clean and just make it all back.
About that because she just moved in like as everything was there, right?
You moved into my house.
Yep. Okay.
With my furniture.
We have so many weird things in common. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So she moved into my, I just signed it over to him. You know, it was my business that put the down payment on that one. It was my business that funded the pool remodel on
you
that
took
one.
Nothing from it?
No.
The ultimate freedom.
Yeah.
The ultimate. Yeah.
I just signed away and I was like, nope, I'm out, sweetie. And then, of course, you know, I have access to the MLS. So when he sold it, I looked to see how much he made. And I had feelings about it. I felt some sort of way.
Yeah,
but
but hey, you wouldn't be where you are if you didn't. You needed to do that. Sometimes there's such a. I've spoken to some women, and again, there's the kids aspect. But I've spoken to some women who are still in that. Like, are you fighting for what's fair and reasonable? Or are you fighting for resentment? Or are you fighting for bitterness? And what is that worth energetically to you? And I know for me, like my second divorce, I didn't really take much either. And that was freeing for me. There was something that I wasn't tied down by that stuff because I had grown up as stuff cluttered and keeping things because, you know, you want to stay attached to the past. So that was really, really helpful for me to move forward. And so I don't ever say you should or shouldn't do that, but I always ask like, what do what are you doing this for? Yeah. And if you got kids and you need to pay for them, like I get it. But,
understand.
Yeah. But how much of this is because you think this is, you know, will help you and will help them, or it's because you're due, or it's because you deserve it, or it's because you want to get them back, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I was like, I just need to go.
Yeah.
So, you know, turns out, not maybe a year and a half after that, I put a down payment on my very own house and I purchased my very own house all by myself.
That's amazing.
And I would trade it all over again, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he made off of my house. I would trade that again for that feeling. And I still own that house that I bought.
Meaning you wouldn't trade that. You would do it all over again.
Yes. There we go. Yes. Sorry. Okay. Sorry if that was confusing.
I want to clarify because it's important Because you get, if any of you are listening to this and you're stuck on this figure or this 401k or this thing, and that's your deciding factor, sometimes letting go of that energetically can bring you something like way better. But in the time, it's not easy to do.
It's not easy to shift your focus to something that is unknown. Did I know I was going to be able to purchase my own home by myself within a year and a half of walking out that door? I didn't know that, Miranda. In fact, I walked out that door and I went and I put a deposit on a rental because I needed to be somewhere. Like, what the heck else was I going to do? And at that moment, I thought, well, I guess I'll be renting for however long this lasts for. And I had no idea that I would be able to turn things around for myself in such a short amount of time to become a homeowner on my own, which again, I had never done before. So I had owned 3 homes by that point. So that was my 4th home that I had owned, right? Like in my lifetime, but never, ever was I able to buy it completely, solely on my own.
Yeah. And the coolest thing about that is, like you talked about when you guys were together and you came down here and you had that feeling and that excitement. You had no idea what in the hell was going to happen. You had no idea where you were going to live. You had a little bit of money in your account. That's all you knew.
Yeah.
And if you could take that feeling and carry, like you could have the same exact feeling, and you did, and carry it with you into that same wonder and that same like possibilities. But as we get older, I think sometimes we get more jaded and we get more scared and we get more fearful and we get more stressed. But it's the same thing. It's just we got age on us and we got different circumstances. But if you can have that same feeling of,
yep,
I don't know what's going to happen, but it'll be okay. Whatever it is, it'll be okay.
It was scary because I was on my own. So if we compare, and I love what you said, I think that's awesome to pull that out of there. But if we compare both of those things, that first journey, I had somebody,
a partner.
Yeah. That second journey, it was all me.
So for you to overcome that and say, I'm going to do that still, even though I'm alone, is like so much growth and so much, I don't even know what the word is, like just evolution, like just
guts. We can call it that too, because
bravery.
My parents weren't here.
Yeah.
I didn't have like any family I could fall back on, nothing. Like we have family here now, but that's because they came later in life, or I have family through my now husband that live here, that were here at that time, but I didn't know them because I didn't know him.
Well, that's what people say, right? It's all about when you don't have a choice, you make it work.
And I did.
Yeah.
And I'm very, I still think about that moment and I'm like, holy shit. And, sometimes, I still go through those moments. I'm 46 years old, but I still go through those moments when I don't feel strong or I don't feel capable. And I just think back and I'm like, what would 30-year-old Katie have said to you right now?
100%. 100%. When my husband left, I had a year-old. I had a 1-year-old, and I took the money from our house and I bought a house, and I didn't know the market was going to crash 2 years later and I would short sell and lose it all. I had to get over that one, but I wouldn't trade it, because that freedom, that independence that I got from buying my own home at 23 and raising my daughter by I had family, my parents were helpful and everything, but like I was still on my own. That's a big deal to buy a house and take care of a house and pay all the bills, all that stuff. When you haven't done it, it's a big freaking deal.
Yep.
Especially for a woman.
Yep. And so, I pretty much have never talked to the guy since.
So, what do you think? You could talk to him, you have a conversation. What do you think you would say?
Gosh, I would love to. And I think that I would have to put a little bit more thought into this, because this is not something that I ever even thought would happen. But what initially comes to mind is, hey man, like, I am sorry you got beat up with me.
Yeah.
Because I even though he knows this, he's a great man. He truly is. He has a big heart. He's a smart man. He's very loving, very accommodating, very caring, very easy going, easy to get along with. I just was creating chaos. And I wish that I could tell him that now.
Do you honestly think he still holds a grudge against you?
Yes.
You think so?
Oh God, yes.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if he's so loving, like and he's so happy and he has children, that we would have never been a part of his life. None of that would have happened if you guys hadn't made that journey down there and you hadn't taken that trip and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would have never met her if it wasn't for me. No. Remember, she came through me, through my business.
Right. So yeah, so definitely some stickiness, but you think overall would be like, hey, that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right. Right. I think that I hurt him very deeply. And based on, and now this has been years, probably a decade or more, because remember, it's been about 15 years since this happened, right? The last time that I heard from a friend, and I don't ask them, they just divulge.
You just hear things. Yeah.
Yeah. Was, no, he pretty much still hates you. So,
well, okay. And you know what? We have things really, I don't want to say great, because we all have things that we go through, or we have things that don't happen for us. And we all, we all have something in our childhood. But if overall things were pretty tight, that might have been the first real massive thing that he went through, or real blow, or real, pain.
I definitely think it was.
Yeah.
I definitely think it was. And, from somebody that you're supposed to trust the most, that's supposed to be your best friend. We had gone through some really cool things together too, with the house and the remodeling of the house. I didn't tell you this because it wasn't really important to the story, but our kitchen burned down. Oh. So we had to, remediate fire, and it really set us back.
What year was that?
It was when we were working on the house.
Oh, okay.
So in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Or no, maybe 2000, 2001. It burned due to the house is very old, and we had these beautiful old hardwood floors. Oh, maple. Oh, so my father-in-law, being handy and being in the sawmill industry, he's like, these are beautiful floors, guys. We need to sand them down and refinish them, and they'll be beautiful.
Oh, man.
So we rented a big giant belt sander, what those look like, right? Mm-hmm. They're massive. And we only had enough time, because remember, we only worked a couple of hours at night. So we only had enough time to sand one room, and the entire downstairs needed it. So it was 4 or 5 different rooms that needed it. So we didn't know. We just left the sander there, because we finished, we shut it off. We left the sander there. But what ended up happening is the heat made it, the old varnish that we had shaved off, combust.
Wow.
Somehow. I don't even know. It happened overnight. We woke up and there was smoke billowing out of our house.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So our kitchen all had basements back there.
Yeah.
So the sander made a hole through the floor. Fell down.
And were you guys home when this happened?
Yeah, we were sleeping. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, note to self.
Note to self. Don't leave it on.
Yeah. But we had been through things that we had to bond further to get through. Yeah. The travel across the country, although it was fun, we needed to lean on one another to do that. The selling of the house, the fixing up of the house, the going through the fire, dealing with all that stuff. We were very bonded. We were close in that respect. We should have just been best friends, to be honest.
Well, but there's something to be said for that was a part of your life. I think it's weird that I was only married 2 years, not even 2 years, but we have a child together. It is so weird to me that we just I don't think we've spoken in 7 years or something. It is so weird. And I'm okay. I've done the work through it, but I am really in my back of my mind, we got to talk one day. Maybe it's not next year. Maybe it's 30 years from now. Maybe it's on his deathbed. I don't know. Well, one day, we got it. We created a child, man. And even if we didn't, we took vows, and we were a pivotal part of each other's life. And you wouldn't be with the same person you've been with for 20 years if it wasn't for what we went through and how, you met her. So there's gotta be, there doesn't have to be, because this is something I'll throw out there. If you have a person in your life, an ex or someone that you feel like you want to have a conversation with, write it out, write it down, put it in your email drafts, burn it, put it in a journal, whatever. But like have that, because if there's a piece of you that's like, man, I wish I could say this, say it. Just because you don't say it to them doesn't mean it doesn't go out in the energetic email and get to them. Or it just helps relieve you. But I'm still putting my energy towards what we're going to talk one day. Yeah. And I don't know when it's going to be, but we're going to talk and it's going to be great. And we're just going to be like, hey, that was crazy, man. Like, I don't know what that was. But you know what? Our lives are the way they are. And it wouldn't be if it wasn't for that. So let's just shake and call it a day,
100%. I am on that page. And, maybe there is a day in the future for us. And I will have the opportunity to say to his face what I just said to you, because that realization came several years after our divorce. Like, I was still, we were, enemies there for a bit. And again, I don't ever think I actually had anything bad to say about him. And those that know him that are listening to this right now, you're going to be like, yeah, we know him. He's a good guy.
He's a good dude. Well, and that makes it harder too, because there's plenty of bad things I could say, but I don't need to. I don't want, like I was not an angel and I didn't do things perfectly either. And I don't need your admission or your copying of the shitty things you did to clear myself. And to release myself of whatever I still carry. Yeah.
So that's that. I mean, there's more to my relationship. There's more that I learned, but we are nearing the end of the show here. How quick did that happen? Does it happen that quickly for you when I'm like the one asking questions? Because
I just glanced at my phone. I'm like, oh my God. Awesome. Yeah. In the zone. So appreciate you, Miranda, for your very insightful questions that really made me think and really made me pull out, what I shared here today. And hopefully to our audience members and followers, it's helpful to you to hear kind of a different divorce story that's maybe less of the norm, I kind of feel like, unfortunately.
Yeah. So maybe it helps you guys out a little bit. And then I can talk in further episodes of how we did the split. We didn't use attorneys or anything like that. Never went to court once.
Yeah.
So, and I know that there's a lot of mamas out there that are on that page with their soon to be ex where they can make decisions with one another, which is what we did. We basically just sat down at the table and wrote some stuff out. I'll get more into detail about that in a future episode. If you guys want to check out any of our previous episodes, you want to hear Miranda's story, it's up there. Over on our YouTube channel, it is at MOMnation USA. That's the handle. Scroll down just a little ways and you will see the blue playlist, Untying the Knot. It's also a podcast. So if you click at the top of the YouTube page at our homepage and you click on podcast, you will see the Untying the Knot podcast and you can pick it up there as well. Please like, follow, subscribe, all the things. That way you don't miss a future episode. If you prefer to listen podcast style, maybe you're a biker, a hiker, a walker, a runner, all the things, then hop on over to your favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for MOMnation Talk Radio. There you will find us. Like, download, subscribe, and you won't miss a beat. We will see you next time. Thank you, Miranda.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or disconnected from yourself? Miranda Ray offers one-on-one private sessions designed to help you reconnect with yourself. Gain tools for emotional healing, build confidence, and step into your power with compassionate guidance every step of the way. You deserve peace. You deserve clarity. You deserve to feel good again. Let Miranda help you get there. Take the first step toward a brighter, more balanced you. Reach out to Miranda now.